Welcome to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Well, the temperature's rising, getting hotter outside, but here's the place to come, the Wee Street Ice Center. Nice, cool, 58, 60 degrees in here with two major sheets of ice. Also, relax, enjoy the Bucks Pub as well. A great setting here, two big ice rinks. Come on in, have a great time, and again, stay cool. Let's take a look now at our Oklahoma Sports Scene show headlines. Oh, by the way, hello again, everyone. I'm Chris Lincoln. Here are the headlines for the show this week. TU Athletic Director Rick Dickson joins us with memories of his 32 years as an athletic director, including 2 terms at TU. Bill Hancock will be on the show with us, a video Zoom to look back on his 5 decades in college athletics, including with the NCAA as the current executive director of the college football playoffs. And what's the future of the NCAA and of college athletics? And we'll show you the final jewel of the Triple Crown, 156th running of the Belmont Stakes, then wrap up Remington Park's quarter horse and mixed meet with the track's Richard Lenahan. Now, first we begin though with the Tulsa World Hot Topics. The University of Oklahoma softball program is a new standard in the sport. They swept to a record 4th straight national championship. It's 8th overall, making it even more special. They did it against their arch rivals, number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns, winning 8-3 and 8-4 in the championship finals. OU finished the championship season with a 59-7 record, but it wasn't easy, as we hear from its Hall of Fame coach Patty Gasso and then team captain senior Kinsey Hansen.
Probably the hardest coaching season that I've had in a while because of a lot of the naysayers, a lot of, I don't know. It's heavy. It's just, I don't know how to explain how heavy, and that heavy is the head that wears the crown. Is the one thing that really stuck out when I heard someone say that. And that's really has felt true. It's been exhausting. These players are exhausted, but they keep going. And it's the love for each other. It's a love for the game. It's a love for the university. But they're elite athletes who have extreme passion.
I'm so proud of this team, and everyone had their hand in it. It was never one hero at the plate or one hero on the mound or anything like that. So this was a team effort, and we fought all season. You know, everybody had something to say about us all the time, and people counted us out, and it was just a grind. All in, mentally, physically, and we fought the whole year, and it was all so worth it in this moment.
The teams are now set. The 8 that are going to Omaha for the College Baseball World Series against June the 14th, goes to the 23rd or the 24th if need be. Take a look at the lineup of teams here and the games. Number 1, Tennessee is in the field, along with Florida, Kentucky, Texas A&M, all of the SEC, then North Carolina, Virginia, and then the final team going to be fielded the Georgia or North Carolina State. So all the teams are from the SEC or the ACC. None of our local teams made it. Number 5 seed Arkansas, number 9 seed Oklahoma, number 11 seed Oklahoma State, unseeded Oral Roberts, all eliminated in regional play. The last 2 of our Big 12 teams, Baylor and West Virginia, were swept in the Super Regionals. Local baseball, Tulsa Drillers are home this week at One Oak Field. Hosting the Arkansas Travelers, one of their big rivals. The 6-game series runs through this Sunday. Tulsa's indoor professional football league team, the Oilers, traveled to Jacksonville, Florida Saturday, looking to end a 5-game losing streak against the Sharks. The Oilers have built a 17-point lead in the second half before giving up a touchdown with 1 second left to lose 45-42, 6th straight defeat for the Oilers. Tulsa's next home game this Saturday the 15th versus Sioux Falls, 7:05 kickoff. By the way, the first 1,000 fans 13 and older get a free adult Oilers team jersey. Doors open at the BOK at 5:30. FC Tulsa did a 4-game winless streak and won its first home match of the season this past Saturday, defeating San Antonio 2-1. After a scoreless first half, Diego Pacheco, in his USL debut, scored first after a long run, some nifty footwork in the box. Pacheco then got his second goal and the game winner not even 10 minutes later on a great header off a fabulous corner kick from Milo Youssef. FC Tulsa earns all 3 match points, improves to 3-5-4, 13 points on the season. This was the first of 3 straight home matches. They'll be playing June the 19th on a Wednesday, then turn right around on Saturday, June the 22nd, take on Sacramento Republic FC. Both matches 7:30 p.m. at One Oak Field. St. Francis Tulsa Tough 2024, another huge success. One of the great cycling events in the nation is going into. St. Francis Tulsa Tough, 3-day cycling event for the city of Tulsa. Began in 2006, has grown to being again one of the biggest sporting events in the city and in the state. Thousands of riders from 48 states and 3 foreign countries and several professional teams took part in the St. Francis Tulsa Tough of 2024. This week, it's the third of professional golf's 4 majors, the 124th U.S. Open Championship being contested June the 13th to 16th at the Pinehurst No. 2 course in North Carolina. Total purse, $20 million. And a strong favorite, world number 1, Scotty Scheffler, he just won his 5th tournament of the year at the Memorial last week. With that $4 million top prize, he has now won over $24 million just coming into June. That is a new PGA season record just getting this month started. He's also the first golfer since Tom Watson back in 1980 to win 5 tour events before coming to the U.S. Open. University of Tulsa Athletic Director Rick Dickson joins us. First of 2 segments. He gets ready to retire. Some great memories about TU and his other stops and along the way in college athletics. You're going to enjoy Rick Dickson next.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
Our story, it lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
Winning action continues throughout the summer at Remington Park. Simulcast racing begins daily before noon from the top tracks across North America. Jackpot play is always available as the casino is always open. Mark your calendars now for the 2024 Thoroughbred season at Remington Park, starting August 16th and continuing through December 13th. Winning racing and casino play every day at Remington Park.
You've seen the billboards, you've heard the hype, and now it's time for the Wee Street Ice Center to open its doors and welcome you in. 140,000 square feet, 2 ice rinks, public skating, hockey, arcade, game simulators, and the largest sports bar and grill is sliding into Tulsa. It's the grand opening of the new Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale. Make your plans, get your skate on, or watch some sports today. The Wee Street Ice Center, now open and ready to serve you. Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale.
We welcome you back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. Our great guest, and so excited to have him here, the retiring athletic director of the University of Tulsa, Rick Dickson. Rick, congratulations on a great career. Congrats on your retirement, but why was this the right time to retire?
For the first time, I'm the envy of the country. Being able to go out at this time, you know, the kind of the chaos that we've all been dealing with here the last couple of years. But, you know, for us, Chris, it's really 2 things. I do feel confident that the reason that we came was just to help elevate TU and TU athletics back to a place that it's that people are familiar with, the people that it's once again a prominent factor in this community, in the national arena, all those things that we've historically been, and you know the reality is Father Time's knocks on your door. I'm just weeks away from turning 70, which is hard for me to attach to my own resume. But we just, you know, it was unexpected, certainly unanticipated, but very, very satisfying to be called back and asked to help the place that launched us.
Yeah, I would say you've really come full circle. You were a high school student here, Bishop Kelly High. Yeah. Then, of course, TU, played football at the university.
Yeah, had a lot of roots, still do, and particularly rewarding to be able, when we thought we'd finished our career, and we're very satisfied. It had been a great career, and we're enjoying our years post-retirement in Tulane in 2017, and was doing some consulting, helping proteges out there around the country. Several that are now ADs, one a commissioner, and just kind of working at our own pace and watching our family grow and expand. And then we got this call, and after nearly a month of trying to avoid it, realized the importance of it. But in hindsight, it was probably without question, we look at it as a blessing to be able to come back to where it all started for us. And
the first time around, Rick, you used your degree in education from the University of Tulsa. Went on to some high school work, right? Sand Springs and
Charles Page,
Will High School out there, Will Rogers.
Yeah.
And then you decided that with the family coming on, you need to make more money. He gets into the business world, sports selling sporting goods. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, he gets the call from TU in 1988. Roughly, how much experience did you have in athletic administration in 1988?
I would say a big zero. Truthfully, in fact, I jokingly have in conversations that I've reconnected with my former football coach and athletic director, F.A. Dry.
I did his coaching show for years. Yeah?
Yes.
Great guy.
Teased him about the fact that as athletes, we all thought his secretary, Miss Gwen, and Miss Shirley, that they were the athletic director, because every time we got a note to go to the athletic director's office, that's who we talked to.
See, Shirley, yeah.
So really none. But in hindsight, the whole arena of athletics and the athletic culture, all those things weren't new. Understanding the dynamic coaching, being a student athlete. In hindsight, without much of an apprenticeship, the fact that I had run my own business and learned so many of the business aspect of the industry proved invaluable for me, Chris. Once I realized that this was transferable, then it quickly started to fall in place.
Well, he learned on the job quickly, because in 2 years, at the young age of 34, youngest athletic director in the nation, you're promoted up to the athletic director's job.
Yeah, really within even shorter time than that, almost 10 months.
Oh my gosh.
From first arrival August of '88, and really by this May of '89 had become the interim athletic director, and then permanently after that. But it was a quick introduction.
What are some of your memories of that first tenure at TU?
Oh gosh, there's so many. As you know, we're at the stage and age where a lot of it's blurred, but it was so rewarding, so exciting. We were an Missouri Valley Conference member and independent in football in those days.
Right.
Probably the most memorable of many chaotic things was that first summer in summer of '89. I learned that, like in May, that we had, this is at the time you could compete in 11 football games, and through whatever transition that had occurred and so forth, of me taking over the previous AD, and the fact that Tulsa was an independent, which made football scheduling very difficult. I learned that May in '89 that we had 16 games contracted that just 3 months later, the beginning of the season. And somehow I had to solve that dilemma.
Wow.
And so I can remember being somewhere like in late June, and finally the last game, I just really started matching the extra games, opponents against each other. And we finally got the last one resolved, and I was free and clear. So I remember that was a happy day.
I tell you, Rick, you've had the magic touch, it seems to me, when it comes to hiring coaches. The first one that made a real impact was the great Tubby Smith. Really began a decade of great TU basketball.
Yeah, without question. Maybe even 2 decades when you take on Bill and Bill Self and John Phillips, and on through the mid 2000s from the early 90s, and that instinctive and fortunate. What I didn't know so much maybe about coaching acumen at the time, I really leaned and depended heavily on quality of person, character, things of that nature, but also very intent on finding people that fit Tulsa, not just TU, but Tulsa.
Right.
Such an integral part of what we do is we've got to be joined at the hip with this community.
Yeah. You know, I see. Then you went to Washington State. What was the allure of going all the way to the West Coast? Obviously, a major university.
You know, it was. I tell people that's when I became a pro. That, you know, it was one thing to get hired without experience at your alma mater.
Right.
And it was fortunate that I had, you know, good support at the president role, at the board level, and allowed me to grow and develop. But to jump into it at that time, what was probably the premier conference in the country, when you look at top to bottom in all sports, the Pac-10 at that time was really, you know, the epicenter. And I know leaving a staff of maybe 50 at the University of Tulsa and walking in the door and being in charge of 250 staff members. Wow. So it was quite a dramatic shift, but it was a wonderful tenure, a wonderful time, a wonderful experience for myself professionally, but also for our family. Very nurturing community, good college town, similar to a Stillwater or Manhattan. And just operating on that stage and that level. Worked for a wonderful president, had great experiences. We went to our first Rose Bowl in 68, 67 years.
Wow.
Things like that were just very memorable, very fortunate, and great to be part of it.
Then off to New Orleans, to Tulane University, 2015, and ended up in the middle of Hurricane Katrina at the end of your extended there, right? Wow.
We did. That's one of those never to be forgotten experiences that really, what I don't think a lot of people realize, not just for Tulane, but the entire region, morphed into a decade-long rebuild. And so to be part of that, you know, that's what I probably look back and say, that's where it had a pretty fruitful and blessed career up to that point. But I think being part of something bigger is what we all look for in our in our careers, and to take on that challenge, and even more so helping the community get back on its feet. But it was truly a decade-long ordeal, and to see where we left it, where it is today, those things are very rewarding, very meaningful for us.
2020, you got the call, number 2 from TU. Come on back. We're going to talk about Rick Dickson, Chapter 2, the return on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Stay with us.
It's time. Time to get back to the basics. Time to meet up with family and friends. Time to play ball. It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories in our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on site to assure the perfect fit, so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
Indoor football is back, Tulsa, and season tickets are going quick. Don't miss Saturday night entertainment starting as low as $9 a month. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off again in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m. BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
University of Tulsa Athletic Director Rick Dickson, Part 2. Chapter 2 started 2020 when the university lured him back here. What was it that made you return to alma mater leading New Orleans?
You know, Chris, it was interesting. Early on, the calls I was getting, and they had an interim president, Janet Levitt, at the time, and I'd heard from several board members, several former board members who were part of hiring me back in the late 80s. just the importance and the really critical time TU was facing, kind of at an impasse, and they're really worried about the future, and some alternative considerations, maybe dropping down a level, maybe dropping sports, things like A sport and things like that. And I just said you can't do that. It's so intertwined with the DNA of the university and the city. And their response was, well, if you feel that strongly, you better come. And initially, I had offered to consult and help them. They just didn't feel like they were in a position where they could operate with a consultant. So initially, it was a 9-month agreement that we'd come up through COVID from October through.
You
through
leave a
June.
hurricane and you come to a COVID.
Oh, that was a piece of cake.
Oh, wow. Gee whiz.
Piece of cake. At least COVID was over, within a period of time where the after effects of a hurricane really went on for a decade.
Devastating, yeah.
So,
well, you've done a great job mentioning hiring coaches. And as soon as you came back here, you hired Kevin Wilson, head football coach. Of course, Eric Conkle, head basketball men's coach, and great hire Angie Nelp, our women's basketball coach, just got a new extended contract, well-deserved, well-earned.
no question. She's really injected, enthusiasm and a style of play and a culture there that I've always believed TU should have outstanding. We've had such, noteworthy women's athletics with Dale McNamara and what she built in women's
Nancy
golf,
Lopez,
and Nancy, all of that, and women's tennis has been great out there. Women's the cross country and track programs, and for whatever reason, we'd only had a few highlights throughout history in the women's basketball. But a couple things. Angie was somebody that kind of fit the profile, but I really liked the aspect that she was an former Oklahoma high school player of the year, Gatorade player of the year, and had gone out of state and played at Colorado State. But throughout her coaching career, she had continued at multiple stops, 3 or 4 different stops, to recruit the state of Oklahoma. Yeah. And that's what we were looking for, somebody that knew it, had connections, had relationships, had pipeline, and quickly, started just like Kevin and his staff have done on the football side of it, started making inroads early on. And but really, too, I think a lot of what it really caught on, particularly this season, was the style of play. It's really fun to watch these young women play. They play, kind of a Golden State Warrior style of constant movement, sharing the ball, fast pace, a lot of three-pointers, and they're fun to watch. Yeah. And so it's, to see crowds of over 5,000 in women's basketball at TU, that was pretty remarkable. So. And
Coach Conkle looks like he's getting things turned around now too.
Eric
just a second season.
I'm very, very confident in Eric. Yeah. That's probably the toughest lift and challenge that anybody has, and not unique to TU, but college basketball out there today is probably the most chaotic and volatile of all the sports. That's where at the highest levels, some of the NIL activity there and the activities going on around it are probably more out of control and volatile than any other sport we have right now. So he's a wonderful coach, an even better person.
That's for sure.
He's building a good program, good culture, and he'll get it going.
We had Coach Wilson on the show last week, and he's tell me, finding up above your weight class. I'm amazed. You go to take the offensive coordinator from Ohio State. He'd been in Oklahoma, been a head coach in Indiana, now the head coach at Tulsa. Wow. Pretty good resume.
That's like a good progression to me.
I'd say so. God, perfect. And he's really excited about the team this year, too.
He is. They're going to be young.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, as we spoke off camera, that's kind of the nature of what we're doing at this level is, I don't know that people recognize or realize it's really one of the kind of fallouts and outcomes of all these, the transfer differences today is across the board in all NCAA sports, high school recruiting is down dramatically.
Oh, for sure.
We're talking over 50%.
Yeah.
And I think it absolutely, between their plan, their work ethic, but also the fact that 50% less high school prospects are signing Division I scholarships in all sports.
True.
So,
well, let's take a look at the Rick Dickson scorecard. It's impressive. He became his athletic director the second time around here in 2020 to now 2024. 10 conference championships. All-time team-high GPA 3.34. All-time record. I know you're awfully proud of that.
yeah, it's. I mean, that's TU. That's who we are. It's who we've been. One of the greatest improvements have really been in the men's football program, as they've had their highest in over 26 years. Our overall, as you mentioned, for all athletes is almost a 3.4. You know, extremely proud of that group. But at the same time, they're excelling in competition too, and that's important, right? We keep score.
And the athletic director's big job, of course, is fundraising, and got a great, some innovative programs, Rick. I love the all-time the Golden Hurricane Champions Fund, the Case Fund, and a lot of facilities renovations have taken place over the last few years.
Yeah, we needed fuel, Chris. We really did. And a lot of that goes back to the importance of reconnecting, re-engaging ourselves with this community. That's what I'd known from a young kid coming into the old Skelly Stadium, watching games, and then watching decades of TU basketball and baseball and sports like that, and how important that was. But I think and that's where Brad Carson, when he came on, really bought into the idea of let's create energy, and we talked through a lot of expanding, improving, elevating our game day experiences in all our sports. And I think people have taken notice, and you're seeing just a new energy and synergy of young families and young kids coming to events, and that's really the future.
I'm interested to notice you have a fundraising drive that actually winds up the same day you retire on June 30th. TU fans can
ironic.
They can join the Golden Hurricane Champions Fund for just $300. Listen to this: you get women's basketball tickets, 4 tickets for that for 4 people. You get Olympic sports tickets. You get parking pass for basketball and football, which is gold around TU.
No doubt.
It's a great play, but it's $300. That's a heck of a buy.
It's a great buy, but it's really about just the invitation for people to see, young men and women competing at the highest level collegiately in our own hometown. Chris, we're competing in the highest level from a conference standpoint that we've ever been in. And for that to be able,
smallest enrollment in all the college athletics.
Smallest FBS university in the country.
Yeah.
And as you know, and others too, Tulsans know, we've always competed above our weight. That's
no
just
doubt,
who we are. And we do it with the great young guys and gals. And the fact that they wear Tulsa across their jersey doesn't say University of, it says Tulsa.
Yeah.
And they're representing all of us. And I'm so proud of the way they do it.
What are the plans? Has Brenda tell you what your retirement's going to be?
No, but she will. There's no question about that. It was funny. We were laughing over the past weekend about, if I may get back in and do some consulting. I said, after this last 45 months, I need a few days off.
I would think so. Wow.
Most importantly, our family, since we came in October of 20, that consisted of our 4 children and 2 grandchildren. Now we will be welcoming in grandchild number 9 next month.
Oh my God! Congratulations.
So I've got to quickly get familiar with that team. I figured 9's a good number. Somebody needs to coach that group. You can play a lot of sports with 9.
Exactly right.
So
Rick,
I'm sure that'll be my first job.
A great pleasure working with you, being with you.
Likewise. Once again,
once
again, thank you.
We're going to come right back with longtime NCAA official Bill Hancock, talking about the mess that is the NCAA. I'm making a few comments back here from Rick too. Back to this timeout.
Indoor football is back, Tulsa, and season tickets are going quick. Don't miss Saturday night entertainment starting as low as $9 a month. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off again in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m. BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
Around the clock, throughout eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing:
improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
Well, the NCAA is making a lot of news lately with that $2.8 billion antitrust lawsuit they're settling and passing the bill on to the universities. It's beginning, many people think, the end of an era of NCAA athletics and maybe the end of student athletes. Had a chance to visit with Bill Hancock, longtime official with the NCAA. Now he's running the college football playoff since 2012. I asked Bill simply, make some sense of this for us, Bill. What's the impact now and in the future?
Man, it's a new day. It's a different time, different than certainly what the business was when I signed up. But the fact is, college athletics is so popular. Look at the Women's College World Series. Look at the crowds at the NCAA baseball regionals. Look at college football and college basketball. Fans love it, and they're continuing to go to events despite what we see as some uncertainty in the way things are being done. So hang on, hang in there. We'll get through this.
You've been involved with the NCAA for so many years, Bill. How'd this happen?
Well, what happened of late was the courts said you need to do this. You need to do NIL. You need to make sure athletes can transfer. And that's what happened. Athletes went to court and they won.
And what's going to be, do you think, impact on the teams? I think like University of Tulsa and Oral Roberts University, the mid-majors out of the Power 5 conferences.
Chris, no one knows. No one knows. And people can speculate. I get that. People want answers. They want the answers now. But the fact is that no one knows. We're just going to have to stand by and see what happens.
Now, does the NCAA survive just on its basketball revenues?
Well, I think the NCAA survives because we need a governing body, and we need championships.
Yeah.
And my goodness, the NCAA does championships very, very well. The basketball, of course, is the leading moneymaker, and that money doesn't go to the NCAA. It goes from the NCAA out to the schools and conferences. So they don't keep it. So we all need the NCAA to do well because the revenue comes to the schools and conferences.
And of course, there's a lot of speculation about finally heading towards one major national football power conference.
You hear that. I'm not sure that's in the offing. Certainly is not in the short term. For one thing, conferences have their own television contracts that extend out through the 30s. So we're going to have to just sit tight and see what happens there. I do think there will be more of a voice for the schools at our level about how they're governed, how they're administrated. That's coming for sure.
Many people think, Bill, that this is truly the end of amateurism, the end of the student athlete.
Well, if there comes a point where the athletes are not students, then at that point, I think we're in trouble. But I don't see that happening. I think people see the value of athletics as part of higher education. And we hear what's happening in football and basketball, men's and women's basketball. But my goodness, let's talk about what's happening, all the good things that are happening in the other sports. Women's soccer, field hockey, cross country. We're doing great things, and we're starting athletes, on the young people, on the path to a successful life.
And we just finished a tremendously successful softball World Series in Oklahoma City. It's been a great sight for it. And of course, Oklahoma Sooners have been very dominant in that sport.
Well, they have. It's been a great thing to see for all Sooner fans. And what Coach Gasso has done and what those young women have done is remarkable. And it is an accomplishment that people will be talking about for the next 30 years. And we got to witness it. We all got to be a part of it live. It's been unbelievable.
And we're winding up the spring sports, and of course the track and field championships are underway right now, heading to the Olympics, and obviously a lot of interest coming up in the College Baseball World Series as we wrap up the Super Regionals.
Yeah, college softball and baseball have just exploded in popularity, in large part because of television. That ESPN has done such a great job of putting all those softball games and all those baseball games on television to bring in more fans. So I think the College World Series on the men's side is the last NCAA championship event of the year. And I know we're all looking forward to it. There's going to be a bunch of ACC teams and a bunch of SEC teams, and it's really going to be fun to watch.
What do you think of the move of the Sooners, the Longhorns, and the SEC now, and the rearrangement of the Big 12? How's that looking right now?
Well, I'm a traditionalist, like I think you are, and I remember. Well, of course, I started my career in the Big 8 conference. Chris, there used to be a conference called the Big 8 Conference.
We were there, and I remember that. Remember the Big 8 Skyriders?
Oh, a long time ago, and it was a real family. And I want people to know this: conference realignment has been happening forever. This is nothing new. I mean, it's shocking to some people, and I get that, but I point back to about 1926, I think it was, when OU bolted away from Oklahoma A&M's conference. They were both in the Missouri Valley Conference at the time. OU left to form a new conference called the Big Six with Kansas, K-State, Missouri, Nebraska, and Iowa State. And you know what? Everybody got through that. And it was till about 59 when Oklahoma State came back in and created the Big 8. So sit tight, nothing new under the sun, and this will all be fine.
We're going to come back and more with Bill Hancock, as they have now announced of course, the playoffs will be 12. They've already announced now the playoff schedule and the TV set up, and we'll have it all coming back for you after this break here on Oklahoma Sports Scene. Stay with us.
The Remington Park Casino is always open for jackpot gaming. The winning action never ends. Enjoy great food and drinks in the Bricktown Brewery, open daily at 11 a.m. Simulcast racing is offered every day, featuring North America's best tracks. Visit the Club Remington desk for player card membership and begin earning points and rewards. The jackpots are always flowing. The next one could be yours at Remington Park.
You've seen the billboards, you've heard the hype, and now it's time for the Wee Street Ice Center to open its doors and welcome you in. 140,000 square feet, 2 ice rinks, public skating, hockey, arcade, game simulators, and the largest sports bar and grill is sliding into Tulsa. It's the grand opening of the new Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale. Make your plans, get your skate on, or watch some sports today. The Wee Street Ice Center, now open and ready to serve you. Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
Founded in 1960, Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing has been dressing gentlemen for over half a century. We are family owned and operated, offering premium brand tuxedos and accessories at our Tulsa store on South Harvard. Bashira's also does made-to-measure suits, sports coats, dress shirts, and slacks, and a top line of sportswear. We do tailoring on-site to assure the perfect fit, so you will look your very best for that special occasion. Ed Bashira's Formal Wear and Fine Clothing, an Oklahoma tradition.
Our story. It lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
A very special guest, great friend of mine for so many years now, Bill Hancock. Bill, a lot of great memories together through the years. We talked about something, my gosh, the Big Eight, your time at OU. We spent a lot of time together on the road and at major events around the country.
Yeah, we sure have, Chris. And I think the best thing about our business is the people, the friendships that last for a lifetime. I don't think we ever realized back in 1972 or whenever we met that 52 years later we'd still be talking. It's awesome.
Well, as you head to retirement in February of the next year, and we can't imagine that, you'll have so many accomplishments. And they call it about the college trifecta. You were the first full-time director of the NCAA Final Four, first executive director of the BCS Bowl Championship Series, first executive director and still of the college football playoffs. Of all those and all you've accomplished in college athletics, do you have a special one that kind of stands out, Bill?
Oh, it's like asking you to choose among your children. I was so grateful to get the opportunity to work in the Big Eight Conference. I learned so much there. We put on championships in everything from baseball, swimming, tennis, cross country, and I loved that. I loved learning about all the sports. But then the chance to go to the NCAA and be director of the Final Four, my goodness, I just couldn't believe that the NCAA asked me to come and do that. And then after 16 years there, I got a knock on the door from the conference commissioners who said we need somebody to run the BCS. And of course, that transformed into the college football playoff. It's an opportunity that no one else will ever have again. They came to me and said, we want you to start this college football playoff. You're the only employee, but you need to get more people to help you and get an office and get procedures set up. And I just thought this is a dream come true. And it was. And this will be my 20th season in college football. I've just had a wonderful career.
Bill, I don't know if people realize now that after the jump from 4 to 12, you also had to set up the playoff schedule, the playoff sites. Let's take a look at those, and looks like something of a great playoff system.
Yeah, it's going to be great. More teams are going to have a chance to participate, obviously. And the first round games, there'll be 4 of them. They'll be played on campus. Number 5, 6, 7, and 8 will host seeds 9, 10, 11, 12. And can you imagine what a great game that will be? A game in Norman or Stillwater or Tulsa will be just awesome. And fans will flock to those games. And television viewership is going to be tremendous. And then, of course, then we're down to 8, and then we have we continue with the 8-team tournament, quarterfinals and bowl games, and championship game this year, January 20th in Atlanta.
Yeah, I see you bring back keeping the bowls in the system, which is great too. The Fiesta, the Peach, the Rose, and the Sugar are all part of the quarterfinals. Then you move to the semifinals with the Orange and the Cotton, and the CFP National Championship game coming up 6:30 p.m. Central, Monday, January 20th. That'll be at that great Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, where the College Football Hall of Fame is as well.
Yeah, love the Hall of Fame. Love to visit there in Atlanta. It's been a great host for. We had Final Fours there, and then of course we already had one CFP there. I will point out something of interest, Chris. Our championship game is on January 20th. Now that date may ring a bell. First of all, it's Martin Luther King Day. We're going to have a great celebration of football and Dr. King. But then January 20th, as many of your listeners know, happens to be Inauguration Day. So the good news for us event planners is that the president will not attend the game.
Well, I was wondering if you're heading to Paris, Bill, this summer. I don't know if people realize you've been so involved for so many years in the Olympic movement. Talk about that.
Yeah, another way my wife and I have been blessed, and Nikki and I will go to Paris. It will be my 16th Olympics and her, I think, 9th. And we are so much looking forward to the games themselves. And of course, being in that magical city of Paris for a little over 3 weeks.
And I'm trying to figure out what's going to be next for the Hancocks, for you and Nikki. And I look back at all you've accomplished in life, and my gosh, 15 marathons, 2 rim-to-rim runs in the Grand Canyon, 2 cross-country bike races. Is that in your future still?
I'm going to stay active. I think that's the key. Yeah. And I was lucky enough to have found endurance sports back in the early 70s when I was working at OU. Coach John McLeod said, "Hey, come with me. Let's go running during lunchtime." and he was a head coach, and I'm a 22-year-old athletic employee, pretty sedentary actually. And so that's how I got started in endurance sports, and I loved it ever since then, and fully intend to continue.
Once again, Bill, thanks for all you've done and done with so much class for college athletics. And I so appreciate what you've done and also your friendship, Bill. All the best to you.
Thank you, Chris. Great to see you. I appreciate you having me on. Take care.
We're going to come right back with our Belmont Stakes recap and also a recap of Remington Park's quarter horse meet season. That's next on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
The Oklahoma Sports Hall of Fame, home of the Paycom Jim Thorpe Award, is a treasure trove of memorabilia honoring Oklahoma sports legends. For museum hours or to schedule a tour, go to oklahomasportshalloffame.org.
It's time. Time to get back to the basics. Time to meet up with family and friends. Time to play ball. It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
As the sun rises over eastern Oklahoma, we are devoted to one thing: improving the health of our communities, our home. We are your friends, your neighbors. We are the people of St. Francis.
You've seen the billboards, you've heard the hype, and now it's time for the Wee Street Ice Center to open its doors and welcome you in. 140,000 square feet, 2 ice rinks, public skating, hockey, arcade, game simulators, and the largest sports bar and grill is sliding into Tulsa. It's the grand opening of the new Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale. Make your plans, get your skate on, or watch some sports today. The Wee Street Ice Center, now open and ready to serve you. Wee Street Ice Center, 43rd and Yale.
Welcome back to Oklahoma Sports Scene. They ran the 156 Belmont Stakes this past weekend down at old Belmont Park down in New York and Long Island. And closed that down for major renovation for a couple of years. They took it up to Saratoga, the historic Saratoga Racecourse in upstate New York. Quite a show for the Belmont Stakes. We have a chance to take a look at the race now. Both the Kentucky Derby winner, Mystic Dan, the Preakness winner, Seize the Gray, were in the field, along with the runner-up in the Kentucky Derby, Sierra Leone, who was the race favorite. Pick up the race call now as they turn for home in the Belmont Stakes. Watch for the 17-1 long shot in the red and white cap, the red silks on the inside. This is number 9, Dornick.
Sierra Leone launching his bid on the far outside as the field turns for home. Mindframe on the outside is coming after Dornick, and it's Mindframe and Dornick head in head with a furlong left to go. Sierra Leone is closing ground. It's Dornick hugging the rail. Mindframe a little erratic, but he's still right there with Dornick in an absolute thriller. Dornick and Mindframe, it will be Dornick and Luis Saez to win the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga.
So the 2024 Triple Crown ends with 3 different winners. Mystic Dan won the Roses at the Kentucky Derby. Then the upset winner, the Preakness Seize the Gray, with 80-year-old trainer D. Wayne Lucas. And now a 17-1 long shot Belmont winner, number 9, Dornick. He paid $37.40 on a $2 win bet. Co-owned by the way, former Major League Baseball All-Star, World Series champion Jason Worth. The Belmont Stakes winner will get a purse of $1.2 million. Remington Park Racetrack in Oklahoma City wound up its meet for the quarter horse and the mixed meet, with thoroughbred season coming up on August the 16th, running through December the 13th. To get the final numbers on the recently completed quarter horse and mixed meet, talked to our friend Richard Lenahan. He's the Assistant Communications Director there at Remington Park, handicapper as well. We asked Richard to give us his thoughts on how the meet went this year.
Overall, it was a great meet. We were up 5% in total export handle. I think we did 79 million in export handle. That's all wagers off track. So that was a good deal for us. And we had a record night for the most money bet in a single night during one race evening. And So we've had some good things happen handle-wise. We had some excellent horses to watch out for going up to Ruidoso. Roman Cruz wins his first riding title at Remington Park. I think one of the funniest things that he posted on Facebook was that now I'm a Triple Crown winner in Oklahoma. He's won all 3 riding titles at Remington, Fair Meadows, and Will Rogers Downs.
Well, how about on track? How'd you go on track, and what was the reception?
On track, we were down a little bit, Chris. We did 84 million last year on track, and I think we did 82 million this year, down like 3%, but still a very hefty handle for us overall.
And let's talk about the champions now for the meet. Who are the ones that really stood out and claimed the championships for the different titles?
Okay, let's just start with the human side.
Yeah.
D. Keener won his second training title in a row with the exact same amount of wins as he had last year, 37. He won by 10 wins over the second place trainers, who were Matt Whitekiller and Jason Olmstead. They had 27, and last year he only won by 2 over Olmstead. So I don't know if I think the wins were more spread out from trainers behind him in the barns. But he is becoming a dominant force, even with quarter horses. He's been known as the king of the paints here in the modern era because he's the all-time winner with paints and Appaloosas in the history of that genre of sport. But he's starting to get quarter horses that can run now. He won the Heritage Place Futurity, our biggest race for 2-year-olds, a couple of years ago with Trace Crystals. And he's had 4 Grade 1 quarter horse winners in the last 5 years. So he's starting to do really well with both breeds or all breeds. And I think he's just one of the best trainers we've got all around. He won the title again this year. As far as races for the ownership, top owner of the meet, it came down to the very last race of the meet, the Heritage Place Futurity. Reliance Ranch had a 10-9 lead over Dunn Ranch, and Dunn Ranch had a horse in the Heritage Place Futurity named Fiery Eagle, and he ran second to Kempton. So Reliance Ranch was able to get their second ownership victory at Remington Park. What's funny is their other one came in 2014, 10 years ago. Took them 10 years to get back to the winner's circle, but they did it by the skin of their teeth. And then jockey, of course, Roman Cruz. He was your winner, and he beat Edwin Escobedo by 2 in that race. Edwin won our riding title last year, but this was the first time for Roman. He was very excited, and especially with his background, you'll run into a lot of jockeys who say, well, I grew up riding because my father rode or my grandfather was a jockey. Roman had none of that. He was just like 5 or 6 years ago, he was out in the pasture with some friends, and he got up on a horse, and they said, hey, it looks like you could do this. And he said, well, maybe I'll give it a shot. And then 5 years ago, he started his career, 4 or 5 years ago, and he went from like $157,000 in horses earnings that year and to over $1 million earned at Remington Park alone this year. So he has turned in some kind of rider.
Richard, how about the horse of the meet or the race of the meet for you?
Horse of the meet was a very exciting vote and was one of the most hotly contested votes we've had in a long, long time. It came down to an older horse and a 2-year-old. The older horse ended up winning out. That was Jess Good Wine. And Jess Good Wine went 3 for 3 at the meet. He won the top race for older horses, the Debbie Schaff Remington Park Championship, and he won 2 other stakes races. Now, the 2-year-old, his name is Kempton, and he won the Heritage Place Futurity, the biggest race of the year for us, $1 million race. And he's headed to Ruidoso Downs up in Albuquerque, or not in Albuquerque, but in New Mexico. And we were likely to see him in some 2-year-old trials up there, possibly the All-American Futurity. He's a horse that went 3 for 3 at the meeting also, but his other 2 wins came in Futurity trials, so not quite as tough as the 3 stakes races that Jess Good Wine won.
Richard, you got a little break now, August 16th till thoroughbreds come in the racing. That's on the way till December 13th, and expecting a big thoroughbred meet, I'm sure, at Remington Park. So enjoy your break here. Enjoy some of the summer.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having Steve Asmussen back. He's won 18 titles now at Remington Park, including last year. So that was a good one.
Richard Lenahan at Remington Park. We'll come right back and look ahead to next week's show. Take this break on Oklahoma Sports Scene.
Winning action continues throughout the summer at Remington Park. Simulcast racing begins daily before noon from the top tracks across North America. Jackpot play is always available as the casino is always open. Mark your calendars now for the 2024 Thoroughbred season at Remington Park, starting August 16th and continuing through December 13th. Winning racing and casino play every day at Remington Park.
Indoor football is back, Tulsa, and season tickets are going quick. Don't miss Saturday night entertainment starting as low as $9 a month. The Tulsa Oilers indoor football team kicks off again in March, Saturday nights, 7 p.m. BOK Center. Season tickets are on sale now. Go to TulsaOilersFootball.com. That's TulsaOilersFootball.com. Get your season tickets now. Don't miss your chance to experience the fast-paced, helmet-hitting, pad-popping excitement of professional indoor football. TulsaOilersFootball.com.
Our story. It lives in Tulsa, where the spirit of the past lives alongside us and urges us on toward a vibrant future. Because our story is still being written. It's the story of Tulsa, told by the journalists who live it and love it. Whether it's covering our rich history, bringing you the hidden gems of the food scene, or following the action in local sports. And here, in the Tulsa world, is where it comes to life.
It's time. Time to get back to the basics. Time to meet up with family and friends. Time to play ball. It's time to cheer on your Tulsa Drillers. It's Hornsby time. It's Tulsa time in the heart of the city. It's time to fire it up.
There's the headline in the June 7th Tulsa World Sports section. For F-O-U-R, gettable. Says it all. Congratulations again to Patty Gasso, the Oklahoma Sooners softball team, making history. First one ever to repeat 4 national championships in a row. And the bonus, of course, was they get to beat the Texas Longhorns. Should get it all. Great series, great job, and a great season for Patty Gasso. Loses 10 players off this team, but she's already looking at rebuilding. Has some outstanding talent coming in. Well, let's talk about next week's show. Got a very special guest, Barry Trammell, longtime sports columnist on the Oklahoma City side. Now he's come over to Tulsa. Going to be working with the Tulsa World, doing a lot of columns for them. Barry has a great insight on sports. Kind of recap some of the things going on this spring. Take a look at the football season coming up. You're going to enjoy Barry Trammell. Have at least 2 segments with Barry next week on the show. Hope to get Vince Westbrook, TU tennis coach, for their 2 national championship teams from this past season. Join us on Oklahoma Sports Scene again Wednesday, Fridays, 10:30 on Cox Channel 3, 93 in the city, and Saturday nights at 11:30. Till then, as we always remind you, be a good sport.